can't support your channel in more ways. I'll do that later. Everybody. So I just did a live on my Facebook, and I told everybody that wanted to learn about astrology that I would actually start going on my YouTube channel and going through a book that I found really helpful for me, and it actually explained a lot that I don't know. I guess if you're into astrology and you do want to know more about astrology, if the best way to start with astrology is to start with yourself. So I used Guided Astrology Workbook. It's a step-by-step guide by Stephanie Capioni. So what I am gonna do this first live is basically I'm gonna read the introduction of the book. My suggestion, either you could go to Barnes and Nobles and go pick up this book yourself. I think I only paid like 20. Yeah, it was about 17.99. So altogether it was like 20 something dollars after taxes. Or you could actually get a notebook, and like I suggested on my Facebook, get a notebook because I'm gonna go step by step, and I am gonna show y'all the charts for what I can see from this book. My suggestion, go on to like Astrology Cafe or something, put in your date of birth, your time of birth, and your location where you was born at, and you can pull up your natal chart. And I suggest make sure you are accurate with your time of birth if you're going to do your whole natal chart, because that is something that's very significant. The introduction of this book, pretty much, I don't know if y'all can see it. This is the hardcover. We got a Libra signal sign, which is the balance in the scale. We got Aquarius, which is the woman with the ear. We got Leo with the lion. We have Scorpio with the scorpion. What the hell? The scorpion. And then you see the pretty ass words. It's cute and stuff. But it says a step-by-step guide for deep insight into your astrological sign, birth chart, and life. Stephanie Capiano. And the illustrator is by Connie Corey, spelled C-U-R-I, Corai. So the content basically runs through it. The first chapter is basically about understanding the zodiac wheel. So this is what I basically want to explain to y'all now, what the zodiac wheel is, where it come from, what's the history about it. I even did my own research, and I did learn that before the fun fact of the astrological chart, and you could research this yourself. Don't just take my word from it. You can actually find this by Googling it, and you can actually look at the historical sites. There is a known fact that before astrology took like a big mainstream, before birth certificates was even out, the time of birth and the day of birth and when the moon cycles was going on, the constellation, that's when people was able to dignify the child's birth date and stuff like that. So they used astrology to dictate the child's pattern of growth, or who they was going to be, or where their responsibilities lied, or their intellectual properties, would they be more spiritual or whatever. So somebody had posted something, which I think it was just their own observation, which I respect people's observations and point of views. And what the person said was, she was like, people don't, she was like, what if the doctors time our birth because they want to actually look up our astrology chart so they can know who's going to be rich and who's going to be famous, so they can annihilate your path or set up some type of distraction so you would never make it to your goals. Well, anybody know, like I know, that's where you come in at play at, when you don't allow distractions in your life. So when I started looking at to this book, and I started looking at the astrology of it and the way they define certain things, I'm learning different reasons why I'm so more passionate about certain things, and when I really am disassociated with certain things. And yeah, this is just how deep it got with me. So like I said, the first chapter is basically going to be about the introduction of the wheel. So it says, introduction. In my teens and 20s, Glossy Magazine, Regine Supreme. Well, I don't really want to read this. This is basically her introduction to her book. I want to get to the actual facts of the astrology facts of it. So it says a brief history of astrology. This is what I wanted. So it says most of us know that astrology has to do with the stars and the planets and things that were happening in outer space the moment each of us was born. But how do we actually define it? What is astrology? Astrology is the 2,000-year-old study of the movement of the celestial objects and how those movements influence our bodies, lives, in the natural world. It's commonly used to forecast future events as well as find resonance in events from the past within our personal lives, our families, and the world of events throughout our history. Now, consider a per, uh, prestigious science. I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, and categorized as a form of divination. Astrology was once held in high regard alongside astronomy, alchemy, meteorology, and medicine. Historically famous astronomers like Galileo and Kepler served at court, advising royalty on how the stars might impact the regimes. Astrology was used by many cultures around the world, including those of the Mayans, Indians, Chinese, Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans. So, what I was saying earlier, you could actually look this up because, as we know, Mayans is supposedly, and the Aztecs was the ones that was creating time, basically, like the calendar and the clocks. So before this was taking place, they was using the constellation. That's how they came up with the clocks. That's how they came up with time. So before there was watches, we had astrology. We had the stars. Our clocks is motivated by what? What the Mayans had put on the map, which was they created time. They created how to track time. And it dealt with the moon cycles and the sun cycles. And it dealt with a lot of things that was in the astrological timing. So astrology, as we know it today, is hybrid in several much. Wait, I think I skipped something. Oh no, Greeks and Romans to predict seasonal shifts, foretell divine prophecies, tracking lunar cycles in the times of year when constellations could be seen. Also influence how each culture built their calendar system. Do you hear that? Before there was calendars, there was astrology. So if we want to say you got to respect history, you have to respect astrology because astrology was before time. Astrology was before calendars. Astrology was before everything that was made and man-made. A lot of people ain't going to like that, but I'm telling you, it's a deeper thought. Back to what I was saying. Astrology, as we know it today, is hybrid of several much older practices. It begins to take shape during the holistic period of in Greece in the 4th century BCE, blending elements of Babylonian astrology. So, if y'all don't know what Babylon was, it was the fallen city. They say we are living in Babylon right now. So, astrology was also used in them times, which I agree. Like I tell everybody, just like when I say when it come down to being an empath, there's good empaths, there's bad empaths. There's bad witches, there's good witches. There's good people, there's bad people. You pick and choose what side you lay on or where you stand at, where your energy lies at. So a lot of practices was built off of this. So then it says astrology based mainly on the famous Greek astrologer Ptolemy. Hold on. No, hold on. I kind of skipped something. Babylon astrology and Decanic Egyptian Decanic astrology. Deacons were 36 individual stars of small constellations that rose and set at different times of the year. The Egyptians used this to understand the world and make predictions. Kemetic language. This was a part of the Kemetic way of learning and teaching. If you go back, I have a book. It's called Woman. Sacred Woman, which I'm going to go back into that book too. I actually want to start a book club with that book, and it could be an online book club. But Sacred Woman dissects the Kemetic way, the laws of attraction, the laws of the land of laws, basically, the universal laws. It explains all of that, and all this is basically what they are telling you. Astrology was taught inside of the Egyptian practice, and Kemetic practices is Egyptian practice. So let's see. Um, the Egyptians used this to understand the world and to make predictions. Western astrology, based mainly on the famous Greek astrologer Ptolemy, 2nd century CE, work Tribellus, a text on the philosophy and the practice of astrology that evolved from Hellenistic astrology is widely practiced in the English speaking countries of the world. And it's the style that you will use in this book. So we're going to use the American version of doing our astrology book. But what I also learned from a lady that I follow on YouTube, you should be able to do a Vedic calendar, do one Vedic and one American, because then you can compare the two. It gives you more of a better sense. So even if you off by a little bit, if you want to go off of Vedic timing or you want to go off of American timing, you could go either way. So get your birth chart. It says before you dive any deeper into this book, you will need a copy of your birth chart. My favorite charts to work with come from astro.com, which I also use astro.com. And the reason why I'm gonna say, if you're gonna be a person that works on your natal chart, for your astrology chart first, and then you want to help somebody else do theirs, I would say use the astro.com, because you can make as many astrology charts as you need. So if you want to do your children, you want to do your spouse, you want to do your mother, you want to do your father, and then I say do this because then you can get deeper into learning the relations that you have with people and why, where your north node, both of y'all north nodes or south nodes, are y'all karmics, are y'all basically like on a journey together. It's a lot more deeper than that. So yeah. My favorite charts to use, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, go to astro.com, which has been around for many years. An internet search, free natal charts collect calculators. If you cannot use astro.com, she's saying you can use a free natal chart calculator, which my suggestion, like I said before, try to use not just one, but try maybe two, and then compare both charts to see what is accurate, because I did the same thing. I have one on pattern, and then I went on astro.com and I compared it, and they are similar. So do you guys should lead you to any number of other tools if astro.com doesn't work for you. Um, let's see, what time is it? Yeah, because I'm almost. Most free websites default is time based plus CBIS system. So, like I was explaining to y'all earlier, you have to know your time of birth down to the last second, because some of them do go by the last minute to the last second, which will help you with your moon sign. You can actually know your moon and your sun sign, but you won't know your rising to be direct, because that is affected literally by your timing in your chart. So it says, what am I looking at? The orient yourself with your chart. Actually, I'm gonna actually do another live, because this is gonna actually start going into the chart itself. I just wanted to do the introduction, so I don't want to fall off topic. But my next live, we will be going into the first part. So get your pen, get your paper, and I am gonna read some of this stuff. I'm not gonna bore y'all with a whole bunch of reading, because I wasn't trying to be bored with all the reading. I actually was reading the key points, and I was actually doing the chart and understanding it better, and then I was researching it. So when we do come back, I am going to actually show y'all the Celtic pattern, which will actually start your chart, so then you'll know where to put your zodiac signs. And then also we're going to start discussing different zodiac signs, their mutations, what their archetype is, the symbols, and the house numbers, and the zodiac signs themselves, and what each zodiac sign means. We're going to learn about the modalities, because all this is going to start your chart. And I'm going to tell you, once you start, you're not going to want to stop. So I'm going to feed it to you guys day by day. I don't know. I might try to do 1 or 2 lessons a week. If not, I'm going to try to do it as quite as frequent as I can. You guys make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And make sure you go onto my Facebook, which is Queen Z's Readings. Follow me. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever the hell you want to find me at. I'm there. But my suggestion, have your notebook ready, or simply go to Barnes and Nobles and pick one of these books up, and we could do it together, because there is some things that I had to research to gain more understanding from. So I will not be afraid to still do this live and show y'all. Y'all have a good one.
Look at this dog.